Hey guys, so it's a new year, so as a tradition, I guess, just to bring another updated Cyber Dragon deck profile. So I recently brought one, but like a runic Cyber Dragon sprite variant, which is going first. This one is more traditional, going second. But yeah, let's just get right into the list. So we are, of course, 3 core. We're going to be pretty brief on this. Like, it's pretty self-explanatory, the 3 hers. I guess I should just mention, for those of you who maybe are new, core essentially searches whatever Cyber Dragon spell trap you need. Hers is mainly there to be pitched for Galaxy Soldier, just to make the rank 5 Nova Infinity plays, the 3 Cyber Dragons, because we're playing Machine Dupe still, because that's just how I like it. Double Naxter, just because... I mean, you can always play one. I've always liked playing 2, especially in a pure build, just like in terms of grind game. And sometimes I like to dump this off the Rampage, the Double Soldier. This is pretty standard. We're just playing one regular, so I'm not playing the whatchamacallit, the field spell, just because it's more so like if you have it, you have it kind of thing. Because if you play the field spell, like usually you would only play one nowadays, and you know what, that's not really enough for me. I cut it down to 1 Jizukuru. Moving on to this post-ban list, like Pearly. Are we going to see that many? Maybe, but, it's definitely taken at least a bit of a notable hit. And realistically, you can always search this anyways. I decided to just go with Ash this time instead of the Nib. You can play Nib, but the reason was also, now that we have double Pank, we can do that. It's very flexible, but this plus Nib can sometimes potentially conflict if it actually ends your opponent's turn and they just end on, the Nib token. Otherwise, though, this is also nice in Cyber Dragons because it does clear itself out of the field, unlike Fenrir, for example, so you can still Specialist Cyber Dragon. Not that that's really a huge priority. And then moving on to the spells, we have triple emergency, 1 repair plant, 1 rough system. Again, pretty standard. I was originally, I thought I'd finally try out Cyberload Fusion again. Honestly, I don't really like it, especially when it comes to, like, Cyberload Fusion, ironically enough, it's more so for, like, grind game, like with refs, Cybernetic Overflow, plus the, Cyberload Fusion. But in terms of OTK, like, you have duality, it's really nice. So I felt I didn't want to use it, especially because it does really get bricky. It's not a card you usually ever want to open. It's just something that you want to search in the grind game. So triple Machine Dupe, again, standard. 3 duality. We don't play as many duality targets as before, just because we do have some generic extra deck monsters that we kind of have to play nowadays, unfortunately, just because this deck is very hard to play nowadays in terms of its rogue status. It's kind of like bottom of rogue. Triple clockwork, really, for contact fusing, it is very nice in terms of the stat modification as well. Unfortunately, Rivalry did get hit on that ban list, so that used to be really nice with like a potential lock with this, but it's not something we ever really truly relied on anyways. Still playing the double pot just because, as much as I want to OTK, this deck does always suffer from consistency issues. And sometimes, especially now that we have SP, we can actually grind a little bit. Along with something like Typhon, Chaos Angel, it actually has a better grind game thanks to those extra deck staples. Some more consistency is the double thrust. Double talents. We're just trying to essentially, take your opponent's monsters for the most part. We are going second. This is pretty much almost always going to be live, and we are playing a lot of powerhouse spells. For thrust, excuse me, 2 lightning storm, the 1 feather duster, and the 1 change of heart. Like, I was also thinking of snatch shield. I mean, it is nice because especially it's just kind of a permanent take. But if you think about especially like Fire Kings in the format, like they just pop a lot of things. When that snatch shield is popped, they just get it back anyway. So realistically, this is also something you can just search off thrust anyway. So it's a little bit more flexible, but for fun, you can always try this snatch shield out. Moving on to the extra deck, we have, again, common homage to get your baby Cyber Dragon to the grave, the 1 Anima, just to suck up that Nib token or Jizukuru, the 1 Seeger for the OTK, and this is definitely, unfortunately, I mean, it's not technically necessary, but in terms of like grind game, because we don't have like Anaconda or spit out Dragoon anymore, SP has been actually quite nice in testing, just being able to at least have some form of threat, especially when you like contact fuse away everything, and like with whatchamacallit, clockwork, and then after, if you are not able to kill your opponent that turn, you want to at least bring out something with those 2 monsters, usually with Fortress, go into SP, or you can actually go into Chaos Angel. So this is something where it's not really like the 2 level 5s that you go into this. I personally find in testing, most of the time, it's actually the core, level 2, and Commander Tech Fortress, level 8, and that's also light and dark, and you go into this after like clear boards, but you just couldn't kill your opponent. So I do find this comes up quite a bit, and it's like very hard for some decks to out it. The problem, though, is not only have room for 1 Nova, 1 Infinity. I always play 2 Nova, 2 Infinity. I think I need to find a way to fit the second Nova, because it can really come up when you get interrupted and this gets, this is gone and you can never go into infinity for the rest of your turn. Although we do have duality that can bring it back now. We have a bit of recursion, but this is one of the options where I could cut it. I was just putting in Typhon because, quote unquote, it's just like a generic extra deck staple that you kind of should play, but I've never actually had this come up so far, actually, to be honest with you. But you know what, for now I'll keep it. But realistically, if I had to make a decision, I think I would cut it for the Nova, or second Nova, I mean, and then the one Zeus to round out the Xyz. 2 Current Tech Fortress when you're playing Clockwork. I think this is really necessary. You could play a third, but I think realistically, I find myself recurring it with duality anyway, so I think it's okay. Double Current Tech Fortress because again you're playing duality because that can come up quite often actually. This is one of the best ones to bring out, and then you can always bring out this other one with like a regular Overload Fusion. 1 Mega Fleet, that's all you need nowadays because of Master Rule 5, and of course the Cyber Twin. This is another cuttable card, but in terms of OTKing, like this goes into this, and that honestly can really lead to easy kills. And finally, oh, actually, sorry, I should mention, shout out to my boy Chandler filming right now for the Chaos Angel. I really appreciate you. And side deck, triple Droll, triple Nib. Again, this is something I typically main deck on. I think I might go back into, I don't know, Ash is just a lot more generic, and we are probably going to face a lot of Labyrinths moving into the next format. Well, I guess now, new format. Triple Cosmic, this is good for Centurion. You don't want to get Calamity Lock, you are going second deck. Like, that really sucks. And then, of course, against Fire King is applicable, and also something like Labyrinth always comes up. 1 Dark Ruler, 1 Evenly. Again, I don't know if Sprite's going to come back, but Dark Ruler is always kind of required in that scenario. We do have only 1 rivalry now, sadly, but then we also have like the double summon limit, and also just the 1 overflow. I have tried main decking it. Honestly, I just find it's a little too slow nowadays. I think when you dedicate yourself for going first, that's when you can play it. Okay, so that's it for the Cyber Dragon deck list for 2024. Hopefully that's helpful. If you have any questions on how to play and everything, definitely go let me know in the comments. I'll try my best to respond, and yeah, Happy New Year.